Our next guest is Kwame Sarfo, the Ghanaian-American. He is an entrepreneur, a sportsperson, an altruist, a model, and a TV personality. He's been featured on The Ellen Show, The Steve Harvey Show, The Pickler and Ben Show on ABC, NBC, and The New York Post. He has also been on the Titan Games show. The Titan Games is a sports competition series which premiered on NBC, hosted by Dwayne Johnson, The Rock. The show features people from across America. Kwame Sarfo is one of the most altruistic human beings I have met. He is such an inspirational brother. Kwame is always ready to help others in the best way possible. He is a man with an amazing heart and a genuine sense of compassion for others. In this interview, we talked about how he went from a wannabe model to being completely broke and homeless, and how he bounced back again to becoming a TV personality who has been invited to many TV shows. We also talked about his workout ethics and everything else he has been doing to give back to his community. Stay tuned to find out Kwame's life lessons and how he managed to push through tough times. Here he is, the legendary Kwame Sarfo, on the Barry Media Show. Thank you, Kwame Sarfo, for this interview. Thank you very much for sparing your time. Now, you have a 9-to-5 job. You are a TV personality, an altruist, an entrepreneur, and also you are in the modeling field. You have been invited on the Steve Harvey Show, on the Ellen Show, and you have also been on NBC and ABC to talk about how you helped a nonprofit organization to be famous and get enough help for their organization. You have also been invited to talk about yourself, about your skills. You have talked about how you went from being homeless to someone who paid off his students' loans completely. My first question to you is, how did you become homeless?
Oh, yes. Thank you very for having me. So for the homeless aspect, kind of a tricky and long story. On the TV shows, I didn't really get to give the full story. Unfortunately, they had to cut some parts of it out. But when I was 23, I graduated with my first master's from Rutgers. And during that time, I was having like a little midlife crisis, if you want to call it. Before I graduated, I had started getting to modeling into more depth, and I realized that I enjoyed it a lot and I had a talent for it. But just speaking off of personal experience, or some people may be able to relate, having immigrant parents, especially those maybe from West Africa, growing up, you're really isolated to three roles in your profession: either be a doctor, a lawyer, or an engineer. So when I brought up the whole modeling aspect, nobody really supported it. They thought it was just like a joke, or I was just playing around. So during that last year when I was getting my degree, as I said, I started to actually get better into getting better at modeling. So when I graduated, I decided to leave my job that I had in New Jersey, moved to Philly to pursue my modeling career, and I also picked up an internship along the way just to have some, money in my pocket and enough to get by. When I got to Philly, I reached out to every agency in Philly. I reached out to agencies in New York. As far as the DMV, nobody liked me. They said I had a nice look. They liked the West African background and the physical features, but they really weren't willing to take a shot on me. Eventually, I was able to find one agency who said they would like to work with me. Looking back at it, I probably should have done more research. I was a little bit gullible. They mentioned that I'd have to pay some fees up front for them to be able to get me started. So initially, I did my research. People told me don't do it, but I said, you know what, let me just shoot my shot, see what happens. So I took my rent money that I had allocated for the 3 months that I was going to be in Philly, and I used that towards the modeling. I did one job that actually was going to be enough to pay for all the month's rent, but I never received a check from the agency. Fast forward 3 years later, that agency now has been shut down. The CEO took about $90,000, closed the branch, and ran away with some of the models' money. So when I took that money that I had for rent and paid it off to the agency. I was in a tricky spot because I was behind rent. I was behind payments in my rent. I really didn't want to tell my parents or friends because just of the whole embarrassment aspect. It's tough to go back to someone and say, hey, I spent over $5,000 on something. It didn't work out. I just really didn't want to deal with the shame. And also my pride was just too strong. I said, well, I'll figure it out. I could do this by myself. So unfortunately, I paid another $2,000 for another agency who said they could help me. And at this point, I was in home for $7,000. If you don't pay rent, 9 out of 10 times people will evict you from where you're staying at. So that's what happened with me. Instead of just going back home, I decided I'm going to figure this out. Like, I'm not just going to go back to New Jersey and have nothing to show for it. I'm not a model and I didn't finish the internship. So I just, one day I was sitting down and I just thought, I kind of stood my mind and I said, we're going to figure this out. So there were some times when I would sleep in friends' rooms in Philly. I would maybe find an empty dorm on campus. I became friends with the security guards, so they would let me stay in an empty dorm from time to time. I started doing more physical training, charging more people for gym sessions. When I had enough saved up, I would just do simple things such as getting some food, cereals, stocking up on cereals, maybe get a hotel room for 2 or 3 days on the weekend, do haircuts just to make sure I was keeping up with appearances, and because I didn't want anyone to know that I was really struggling. So I did that for about 6 to 8 weeks, and one day my parents were coming to visit me from New Jersey. They got into a car accident. Their car was totaled. I got a call at 5 in the morning from the hospital saying your parents were in a car crash, so I raced to the hospital, and that was honestly the moment where I could have told them what had happened. But seeing the physical condition that they were in and seeing as how losing a car is obviously a big expense, I still couldn't bring myself to just telling them and going back. So eventually I went back to New Jersey. I stuck it out, and it really doesn't make sense. It really sounds weird, but I got an email one day from American Express, and it said, you haven't logged into your account for a long time. So I clicked on the email, and it turns out I had about $4,000 just sitting in an account. I remember when I was in my undergrad, I used to save $20 and just put it away into an account every 2 weeks, just letting it compile, and honestly, I forgot about it. So once I received that email, I took the money that I had, I paid off the rent that I owed. I finished up my time in Philly. Fortunately, I didn't get a full-time job in Philly, but when I moved back to New Jersey, I was able to land a position, and since then, things have just been picking up and working in my favor.
I see.
Yes, that's like the whole nutshell. I took the money I thought I had, used it for something, didn't pan out, but in the scheme of things, a couple years later, now I'm signed to 3 different agencies, have a 9 to 5. I'm also working in other business ventures, so I really just want people to understand that even if it doesn't make sense, if people tell you no, if you really believe in it and you really feel that you can do it, just go for it. Like, it's risky, but as odd as it seems, it's better just to risk it and fail, because you can always come back from that, and you always come back stronger.
Yeah, I also believe that. I mean, like, even though that, I'm pretty sure you see that as some sort of a mistake you made, like getting all that money to people, but like you definitely learn from it, right?
Yes, you do. Yeah.
So what exactly did you learn from that experience? Can you share?
Oh, yes. First and foremost, I learned that there's a couple of things. I would say that there's a difference between owning up to your mistakes and maybe being prideful or being shameful. Because if I had just sucked up my pride and gone back home and said, okay, this is what I did, maybe I wouldn't have to go through that. Like, I wouldn't have to go through the adversities that I went through if I had just sucked up my pride and acknowledged it. So sometimes we always try to take the difficult path when we really don't need to. A second thing I noticed is you always have to have faith. Honestly, that should be the first thing. Just have faith in yourself. Sometimes you go through difficult situations, and albeit whether you believe in God, another Allah, or another form of religion, or don't even believe in religion, we go through adversities and tests for a reason. It's just a way to test us to see what we really want is what we really want. Because everyone can say, I want to do X, Y, Z, but then when you see they're not really applying themselves, like they'll say they want $1 million, but what are you doing to get to that $1 million? Or I want to be a model. What are you doing to become a model? Have you done test shots? Are you going to auditions? Like, what are you really doing to get to what you want to get to? So I noticed that you just have to have faith. Sometimes calm your mind and just think things out. Don't always rush to decisions, or don't always be too prideful to ask for help. and just keep going. Like whatever it is you say you're going to do, just be persistent. Like, even if you don't hit your goal, I guarantee you're going to end up with something else or something that's even better or another pivot towards what you wanted.
Yeah, I definitely understand. I like this quote. I don't know where it came from, but it says something along the lines, shoot for the moon, and even if you miss, you will land among the
Yes.
stars,
Yep.
right?
That's true.
So that's good. So let me ask you, so what type of job you're doing and what are the businesses you're working on right now?
Oh, yeah. So right now I'm the business development manager for a startup healthcare company. We help doctors report their data to CMS to avoid a penalty. So that is mainly my 9 to 5. A big reason why I chose it is because it's the company is underneath the school, and currently I'm finishing up my second master's. I should be getting my MBA in I want to say May, so about 2 months. So that's
Nice.
my 9 to 5. Thank you so
Congratulations,
much.
by the way.
Thank you. Yeah, always want to keep challenging myself, keep growing as a person. Thank you. So that's the 9 to 5. The entrepreneurship side. I am the COO of Original Ghanaian Market. It's a West African grocery and retailer in Sayreville, New Jersey. Recently, I also launched my own company, Kaneshi Foods. I launched it last year. We haven't hit the market yet, but I'm going to get it on the market very soon. It's also in regards to promoting West African culture to essentially everybody. I'm taking ready-to-eat West African food and trying to bring that to market, not only for West Africans or people of Caribbean descent, but everybody to try. Essentially, I want to, the same way people reach for Chinese food, I want them to one day reach for West African dishes, just like that. Like instead of getting chicken fried rice or pork fried rice, you're going for, let's say, jollof rice, or maybe you watch a pounded yam. So that's the concept, that's the idea that I'm trying to bring together and then bring it to the Western world.
Let's see. So that's going to be like some sort of a franchise. Is that what you mean? Like, or
Uh, it's going to be similar to, the best example is like the Uncle Ben's. Uncle Ben's has a ready rice line
correct?
in which you just take the packet, warm it up for, let's say, 2 minutes, and that's it. So it's going to be near that market. We're going to have ready-to-eat West African dishes where you can just warm it up, and it's going to have the same taste as if you had just made it in your kitchen. There's not going to be any preservatives, additives. It's going to be 100% natural, and it's really going to be helpful for people who may not have the time to cook, maybe who don't cook that well, or just people who have never been to West Africa or just want to, experience the culture, try it out, see what it's like, see what kind of things we eat and how our culture is.
So can you spell out your two businesses that you're working on? I know you said it, but can you spell it out? Do you have a website or something?
Yes. So the first one is Original Kaneshi, Kaneshie Market. We are on Facebook as well as Instagram, but more so we have more content on Facebook. There is a website, originalghanaianmarket.com. It is up and running. It still has a couple of kinks, but we're going to handle that very soon. And the second one is Kaneshi Food. That one, there isn't a website per se. I'm just more focused on getting this degree really quick so I could give that my full time and effort. But Kaneshi, once again, is Kaneshie.
Anyone who goes to your website will see those, right?
Yes, yep. If they go to the website or if they even go to Facebook, they'll see some of the things that we offer, our services, address, contact information, little things like that.
Got you. Great. So what are the challenges you went through having these businesses work out?
I would say the main challenge is honestly just the believing in yourself aspect. A lot of times when people have an idea or they have something that they want to bring to fruition, they'll tell people that are close to them, many times like your parents, your family, or close friends, and they may say it's a good idea, or it's not a good idea. So sometimes the biggest issue is just believing that what you can do is actually possible. Because sometimes you will ask someone else for their input, and if they say no, you just internalize that and say, well, let me just give up on this completely. So I've noticed that is really the biggest issue. I went through that with the modeling. I went through that with the starting the businesses. It's really just having the internal belief in yourself. And even if your friends or family don't believe in you, that's okay. Like once you get it up and running and once it's successful, that's when like everyone starts to come on your side and ask you questions of how you did it or start to believe in you more often.
Can you explain the type of altruism you do?
Yeah, so I see altruism in the sense of like showing an interest in others, like wanting to better the lives of others in a way that will impact them positively. That's something that's always been big to me. Even when I was growing up, I always had a dream that if I became a millionaire, I would help out X, Y, Z. I'd do this, this, and this. I would build this, this, and this. I've always wanted to give back to the community or just help people out. I remember growing up, used to go to Ghana for vacations, and I remember way back then, even still to this day, sometimes when you're traveling in a taxi or the local cars, you'll notice that you see people on the side of the road selling foods. I remember when I was 7, I saw this boy who was about my age, and he was selling bread on the side of the road in between like pickup trucks, taxis, motorcycles, whatever the case is. He was selling bread. His younger brother was selling, I don't know if the viewers know, but Tico, it's like a little cards used to make calls. Someone was selling gum, plantain chips, donuts, and it really hit me hard because when I bought the bread from him, that's when like 4 other people came to the window and said, "Oh, please, please buy this, please buy this, please buy this." So that occurrence really hit me. And I said, when I grow up, I want to help people out. Even if I don't become a millionaire, there's always something that I could do to impact people's lives. So just having that thought and actually wanting to do something positive for people, I believe that God honestly brought the people into my path. For example, for the Steve Harvey TV show, the lady came to my job and just asked for donations, and I donated some cans. But when I went home, I said, I really want to help her more. I may not have the money to give freely like that, but what can I do to help her in her mission? And at the time, I had been on Ellen and a couple of TV shows, so I said, if I put together a video and send it out to all the media shows, maybe someone will pick up on it. Initially, we wanted to get back on Ellen. It didn't work out. But after about 3 months of just sending it consistently to Ellen, Steve, ABC, NBC, CNN, Steve Harvey picked up on it. And then that's when it brought me in to do the little segment. So altruism, honestly, it's something that I hold near and dear. Like no matter what situation I've been in, no matter what I'm going through, no matter how much money I have, whatever the case is, I always want to be able to help other people, even if it's not through money or gifts, even if it's like a simple question. If someone sends me a message like, "Hey, Kwame, I saw you models. Can you give me some tips and tricks?" I really consider all that to be intertwined with altruism, just bettering someone's life or at least giving them some positive feedback or some positive direction to help them out.
Great. So what do you do in terms of training? I know that on the show, you, you're one of those guys that are very in good shape. So
Yeah, I try to.
What are you doing to stay in good like shape? What could you give out some tips?
Yeah. So for me personally, I don't think people have to work out as much as I do, to be honest. Most times I'm doing I work out twice a day. It could be a little excessive. I know we all have busy schedules, but I really try to fit in 2 workouts. Worst case, I will settle for 1. You don't necessarily have to do that. Like some people can work out 2 times a week, 3 times a week, and they'll be in great shape. It just really all comes back to what we eat, as we all know. It's about what we put in our system, not really what we're doing at the gym or what we're doing outside of the gym. So just some tips. It's really general. You probably hear it all the time, but obviously water. You just want to get as much water in our body as possible. I noticed that personally, since I played a lot of sports in high school and college, I would push myself a little too hard. So a doctor actually told me that I was putting my body at risk because I was dehydrated. I didn't know that at the time. I just thought, I'm working out hard, I'm sweating it out, I'm getting in great shape. So that's something I'm always mindful of, just drinking more water as much as possible. Then there's also just snacks. Since I worked a 9 to 5, unfortunately, you have to be behind a desk a lot. You don't really get to move around a lot. So I try to bring healthy snacks like 2 bananas, an orange, an apple. If I can, I try to get walks in as much as possible. Even if I don't have to do anything, I'll just walk to the bathroom just to get my steps in, just to kind of get out of the 9 to 5 mundane, get away from the work stress, just some time for yourself. So it really comes down to water, a couple of snacks that are healthy. I say stretch your legs as much as possible. I'm not saying go for 20-minute walks every hour, but just step away from the office. Just get a chance to breathe, just to be present in the moment, look at other things, focus on other aspects.
So if you ask you though, like what are some of the things like for someone who doesn't go to the gym, for instance, like they don't have enough time to go to the gym or they're too busy or they just don't have the means to go to the gym. It could be anything. Like what are some of the things they can do at home that can keep them in shape? Like what advice what type of tip do you have for that?
Oh yeah, so for home, I would say just these simple basics like the push-up, the dip. If you're at home, you may not have a pull-up bar, but if it's nice outside, you could, I would say, go to the park and do some pull-ups. But push-ups, pull-ups, dips, sit-ups, it's a little tricky. I know a lot of people do the sit-ups to get the six-pack abs, but the funny thing is if you're not eating right, you could do the sit-ups, but you're not really going to see them because they're underneath the, I don't want to say fat, but underneath the layers of fat on the body. But I would say incorporate sit-ups to work on the core strength. Given that we do sit a lot at our job, our core is not as strong as we think, and a lot of times we're slouched over. So doing these sit-ups definitely helps with your posture as well as building up a little more core strength. At home, even if you don't have time, I would really say everything helps. Like if it's maybe 10 minutes of doing push-ups, burpees, jumping jacks, anything to get the heart race working. Jump roping, a lot of times I'll tell elder people, well, if you can't do like push-ups, all those things, just going for a walk or maybe doing lunges, just doing something to get your body involved. If you live in a house and you have stairs, just go up and down the stairs for 5 minutes. I guarantee you your heart rate will increase and you'll probably be trying to get some air. So there's always little things we could do. If you have a child and they're young, maybe you could use them as a body weight. For example, when my nephew visits me and I'm trying to work out, I'll be like, sit on my back, or maybe I'll let him hang up from a towel and I'll start doing bicep curls just to incorporate the kids, have some fun with it. But just any type of movement that you could do to get your heartbeat going up would be ideal. Whether it's 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes would be perfect. But, sometimes we're busy, we have other responsibilities, but anything you can do all adds up.
So does it help though, like doing like 5 minutes at a time? Like you mentioned 20 minutes, like do 5 minutes and then do like an hour later, do another 5 minutes and then another 2 hours later, do another five. Does that work? Or you want to do everything like in one set, like the 20 minutes where you get enough results?
To be honest, it'd be ideal to do everything in the 20 minutes. And also, if you're doing something, let's say 5 minutes every hour, if you look at it, after 4 hours, that's about 20 minutes of work. So essentially, it's like you probably could have squeezed it into that 1 hour itself. But, everyone is different. Sometimes things happen. So the 5 minutes, it will add up. But as long as your heart rate is picking up, like if your heart rate is getting higher, then it does help. For example, I may do push-ups for 2 minutes straight and then take a 10-minute break, do another push-ups for 2 minutes straight, take a 10-minute break. After about an hour or two, you do feel it, like your triceps are burning, your chest is hurting in a good way. So even though it does sound minuscule, only being 5 minutes, if you're actually working out intensely, it's going to do something. But if you're just, let's say, doing 3 push-ups every 5 minutes, then you may not see any type of results or any type of progress. But that also varies from person to person because someone could maybe have a high body weight and doing 3 push-ups is taxing for them. So if that's the case, then yes, the 3 push-ups every hour does add up. But if you're, let's say, in good shape or you can hold your own body weight and doing 5, you felt nothing, then I would say do 10, like do 15. Just do enough to feel a slight burn or slight pain in your body, a positive pain though, not the I hurt myself type of pain. But
yeah, but one thing I've noticed though, a lot of the food has like fatty elements in it,
yes.
So how does one deal with that?
Yeah, that is a great question. It's a very tough thing too, because speaking firsthand, like the foods we eat, sometimes it's not the best, and sometimes the oil is not the best thing for our bodies. But with that, there are a couple of things that they could do. Just speaking from personal experience or example, my grandfather before he passed away, he used to say that his dinner would be at 4 o'clock. And it was funny, if you brought the food at 4 o'clock, he wouldn't eat for the rest of the day. He'd say, take it back, I'm not going to eat it. and he lived to, he lived to 97. So I do feel as though he did have a winning strategy with that. A lot of times, everyone may not be able to eat their dinner at 4, but I've noticed even myself, I do it a lot of times. I'll be eating dinner at 6, or if I had a long day, I may eat dinner at 8 or 10. And that's the part that really kills us. So to combat that, for example, if you know you're going to be eating late that day, instead of going for, let's say, something with palm oil or something heavy, choose something light. Like, I'm not saying eat a salad for dinner because, granted, even using myself as an example, eating a salad is not going to fill me up. But for dinner, instead of me eating, I'm not sure if the viewers knew what it is, but fufu, instead of eating something heavy that'll fill you up and make you tired, I'll eat, let's say, jollof rice or something small like rice or maybe plantain and stew. So you could eat the African foods every day, but you just have to be systematic about how you do it. If you're going to eat something heavy, try to get that in early in the day before you get out of work or before 4 o'clock. Even if you eat it at work, it's better because at least at work you're somewhat going to be moving. But when you come home and you're done for the day, you eat something heavy, 9 out of 10 times you're not going to go to the gym. You're just going to do what you have to do and then go to sleep. And then you wake up the next day, sometimes you're full, but it all adds up. So I would say first, try to have your last meal somewhat early. And if you can't, don't eat anything heavy. Second, for people who are really trying to cut the weight immediately, it will be hard, but I would say cut out as much of the bad foods that we know of, especially with the West foods, for example, foods with oil. Try to cut it out. Personally speaking, I eat rice almost every single day. And rice is another issue, but I vary it. Some days it may be jollof rice. Some days it may be brown rice. Some days if I do eat white rice, I'll eat less white rice and put more vegetables or maybe more chicken or goat. So I could eat the same thing maybe 5 days out the week, but it's all about what time I eat it and the portions. A lot of times we eat big portions just to get full. And some people, they may take a lot and they won't finish it, so they'll put it back in the fridge. That's a sign that, okay, you don't need that much food to get full. So yes, all about the time, the portions, the types of food. I would say try to stay away from heavy foods if possible. If not, eat that early. Water does help a lot. As we know, drinking water, it does curb our appetite for certain amounts of periods. So before you get dinner, maybe drink a bottle or 2 bottles of water. I guarantee when it's time to eat the food, you may not finish it, or you may be fuller than you would have been if you hadn't drank the water before.
Great information, man. Great information. So you suggest that instead of eating a lot in one set, it's better to eat per portion, like have like portions throughout the day.
Exactly.
Okay.
Or even one thing that I tried out in the past, I wanted to limit how much rice I was eating. So I took like the regular size that I would eat for dinner, let's say, and then I broke that into 2 Tupperwares, like 2 separate portions. So I had some earlier in the day, and then I had the rest later that night. And funny enough, I didn't finish the one I had later at night. I believe it was because of the water I drank in between. And also sometimes, I can't speak on everyone else, but your body may get tired of eating the same thing. So if you eat it earlier in the day and then you're going to eat it again, the mind is like, I already had this, maybe I don't really want it like that. For example, with me, if I eat too much Chinese food, I get motion sickness or I start to feel queasy. So the same thing kind of happened with the jollof rice. Like I ate it for lunch, I had it as a snack. When it came time to dinner, it was like a mental thing saying, you know what, you don't really need it, but let's just eat a little bit just to get you through the night. So sometimes you could either make smaller portions of it. You could eat smaller portions, or you could break it into different portions to trick the mind to not want it later on in the day. I'm not sure if that made complete sense, but
oh no, it does. It does actually.
Yeah, that's more of a mental thing I've noticed.
Yeah. Great information. Great information. So I know that you have also competed in the Titans game show organized by Dwayne Johnson, The Rock.
Yes.
Very famous guy, by the way. I like him a lot. He's a good actor and great actor, actually, I should say.
Yes.
I saw your competition against Derek Scott, and that competition was one of the toughest competition, actually, I must say, on that game. He ended up winning.
Yes, yes.
which was, I mean, it's part of the game. You play, you win, and you lose. It's all part of the game. But my
Yes, part of
question
life. Yeah.
is that what I want to know is that how did you get selected to compete on the show?
That I really feel like it was just opportunity, just meeting me at the right time. I was on Instagram, just scrolling through my feed, and I saw a video of The Rock. He said, "I'm looking for people to compete in a competition. People from all walks of life, from firefighters to people in the office to uh, Olympic sprinters, former football players." So I saw the post and I just said, well, let me just shoot my shot. I wasn't like an Olympic athlete. I wasn't a firefighter. I just worked in the office from 9 to 5. But I felt that I do go to the gym a lot, and I was at the time I had been on Ellen for the push-ups. So I said, well, let me see if I could put together a nice story that'll really be compelling to them and get me on the show. Initially, the funny thing is, when I first saw it, instantly I said, I'm going to be on the show. Like, I just had that belief. There wasn't any doubt. Like, I didn't believe that I wasn't going to get on that show. After I watched the video, I just felt like he's speaking to me. He's looking at people who maybe working 9 to 5, but they've always felt like there's something greater in them, like they have a higher calling. And I just felt from that moment I saw that video that I was going to be on it. So I just took an iPhone. I found a friend. I went back to the office late night and just started recording different bits and pieces, put it all together. I sent it along with the Ellen clip of me doing the push-ups. And I believe 3 weeks later, they reached out to me. And they said, we liked it. We just want you to tweak a couple of things, give us more information about your background, like tell us about West Africa, tell us about Ghana, tell us about where in Ghana your parents are from. So I just went back, re-pitched it, re-edited it, and then before you know it, they invited me to Cali for the Columbine. I believe there was 200 of us. I'm not sure the specific number, but we were all competing to be on the show. And they told us that there'd be only about 40 people who would make it. We went through the Columbine. I gave it everything I had. At one point, I cut all the calluses on my fingers. So, yeah, 4 of my fingers I had a Band-Aid around it. They put some Band-Aid and then they put some gauze around it just so I could hold on to things. Like, I tore my skin off. There was blood coming from my nose at certain points. Everyone was just giving their full and max effort to be on the show. And I'm glad to say, even though I didn't win, that was one of the best experiences of my life. Just being able to be selected, being able to represent West Africa, specifically Ghana, was another great moment. I had a couple minutes with The Rock, and I have to say he's a stand-up guy. Like, the way he projects himself on TV is exactly the way he is. Like, stand-up guy, big guy. Like, people say I'm big, but I was looking up at him in height, and he's just wide overall. But he's really a class act person, and he's someone that I would really like to inspire to be like when I get a little older. Or the things that I do now, I really try to embody him. Like, what would he do in the situation, or how can I make an impact on as many people as possible with, let's say, my limited funds or with my limited notability.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that was
amazing. That was something I was going to ask you, though. What is your impression of him? Like, I've seen him on television. Like, I personally think he's a nice guy. Like,
yeah.
from, by the way he talks, by the way, like he does, like his actions, his moves,
Yes.
but like you've been close to him, like you've had the chance to talk with him. Like, what impression did you get of him?
Initially, when I saw him, I was like everyone else. I was starstruck. I was like, wow, this is really him. Like, I've been watching this man since I was maybe 6 or 7 years old. Watched him on TV wrestling. I used to practice wrestling moves on my pillow while my cousins when they would come to visit. So actually seeing him in person, it was amazing. And it's funny, you would think that you'd be starstruck, you wouldn't be able to speak to him, but he's very authentic. He's very personable. Like, he will come up to you and be like, oh, how you doing? My name is Dwayne Johnson. He won't even say I'm the Rocker. He doesn't have any air of arrogance to him. Like, why are you talking to me? Like, who are you? It's crazy. He's a very authentic person. I think also he's humble to an extent, because I've noticed that people like that, they don't try to use their status they don't try to use their status to portray themselves to other people. Like, they're just so authentic in the way they act. Like, the way he shows himself on TV, the way he shows himself on his YouTube videos, whatever the case is, that's exactly how he is all around. Like, if you told me that he goes home and curses out his wife for his children, I couldn't even I could not believe you. Like, I would say that's blasphemy. Because he took time out of the day just to speak to me and said, oh, how do you say your name? Like, what's your background? I saw your push-up video, and that was incredible young man. Like, he's really just an amazing person all around. Like, there's nothing negative that you could even think of to say towards him. Like, if you were to find something, it'd be tough. Like, you'd have to do your homework. Like, you'd really have to know something he did in the past. But from what I saw from him, just completely authentic, humble, and it's incredible because he knows how famous he is. He knows the influence he has, but he doesn't project that onto people. He's just like I'm just a regular guy, just a little bit taller than you, a little bit bigger than you, but like we're the same. We're all equals. If I was a janitor, I'm sure he'd shake my hand regardless. If I was a CEO, he'd shake my hand the same way. And that's one thing that I really admire about him as a person and what I saw during the whole NBC Titan game show.
Great. So where were you born, Kwame?
Oh, yes, I was born over here. I was born in New York, and then I was raised in New Jersey for most of my life. I went to Florida for college for a little bit, then I came back to finish it in New Jersey. So yes, I was born in America. Parents, cousins, everyone else is basically from Ghana.
So do you go to Ghana?
Yes, I try to go to Ghana as much as possible. I used to go every year to 2 years, but when college came, sometimes you have summer classes, things get a little trickier. Now you're paying for your own trips, so it slowed down. But the last time I went to Ghana was 2017, I believe. So it's about, 3 years. I'm overdue, so I'm definitely going to try to get there before 2020 ends. But yes, I love going back to Ghana, and I really think it's important, especially for people who are West African descent, but who weren't born there. It's always a good thing to go back and just experience your own culture, see how other people are living, see what's going on back there, essentially see what your parents went through, where they started, what they did to get where they are, and just it makes you a better person. Like, it really opens your eyes to things. And especially if you're born here, if you can, I would say go back, see it, experience your roots. If you're looking to invest in it, go back, invest right now. Like, all the help they can get any help that they can get would be great. So that's another project that I'm working on too. I didn't bring it up. I don't want to speak about it just yet, but I'm looking to do another project, hopefully with my family and a couple of friends in Ghana within the next year or so.
Great. I agree with you completely. That's great. So you have a very unique way of doing push-ups, I noticed. I saw you doing push-ups on the Ellen shows. I also saw you doing push-ups on the Pickler and Ben show.
Yeah.
So where did you learn to do that type of push-up? And how long did it take you to master those skills?
Funny enough, I learned it when I went to New York one day. I don't even know what I was doing in New York that day, but I was around Yankee Stadium. And on the side of it, there's like a little recreational park where they have pull-up bars and places to do dips and other workouts. And I saw these group of, I don't want to say kids, but a group of young adults just doing some workouts. They were doing Superman. They were doing Superman push-ups, which is when you just jump up and your whole body leaves the floor, like you spread your arms out. They're doing different tricks on pull-ups and all these creative and unique talents and tricks. So I took that, I went home and I tried it. The first day I got home, it didn't work out. I tried to do a clap behind my back. Funny enough, I hit my chin on the floor and almost knocked myself out somehow. But eventually I just kept doing it though, stayed at it. And to be honest,
were you okay though? Were you okay from that?
Oh yeah, I was good. Yep, I hit my chin the first time. The second time I hit my forehead, but we're good. We're okay from that. To master, it's tricky. I don't want to say I've mastered it quite yet, but to get to the level that people saw me do it on the Ellen show, I'd say it took about 6 to 7 months. The only reason why I think it even took that long is because of the way my body is proportioned. I'm over 6 foot and over 210 pounds. The people that I saw, that they were about 5'7", 5'8", about 150. So their body's obviously going to move in a different way than mine does. And I have longer arms, so for me to do some of these tricks, it's a little bit more challenging. It takes a little bit more practice. But to get to the level that I did for Ellen, I would say it was about 6 months doing it, if not daily, every 2 days. Like, I would be in the gym on the side and people would be like, what are you doing? That's crazy. Stop doing that. You're going to hurt yourself. but I just kept doing it. I just felt like this was one of my weird talents. I didn't think it was going to bring me money or any type of fame or success, but I just said, I like to do it. I think it's cool. Some people like it, some people don't, but you know, it's part of what makes me unique. And I just kept doing it. I did a video with Fat Boy. He went by Fat Boy SSC, but now he's an IG celebrity. We did a video together. It got 1 million views within a week. And I'm pretty sure Ellen, someone on the Ellen team saw that a year later, because I got a message from Ellen saying, we saw your push-up video from last year with Fat Boy. Would you be able to do that in person for our crowd? And since that day, as weird as it seems, the push-ups kind of have been opening doors for me to just show off my other talents and other facets of who I am as a person. So I really want to tell people, no matter what your talent is, even if it sounds dumb, just keep doing it. You never know what could happen, because if I didn't do the push-ups, maybe I would have met Ellen, maybe I would have met Steve, The Rock, been on Pickler, been on ABC. So you really never know. It's just whatever you like doing, just do it. Even if it's dumb, just do what it is.
Great. So is the fame putting a toll on you?
The fame, funny enough, it hasn't. I don't think it has. Personally, I know people who are humble don't say it, but I really don't let things get to my head like that. I'm not going to, let's say, a club and saying, oh, you don't know who I am? I was on Ellen. Like, I should get it for free. I've never done that. I'm never going to do that. The only way that I'd say that the only toll that it's been on me is probably because once you get to that level, people start trying to come around you more often. For example, like, oh, I saw you on Ellen. Maybe you have more people coming up to you asking for favors or asking you to take part in what they're doing. Or maybe they're trying to just get names of casting directors or use you to get to another platform. Me specifically, I could say with the whole TV side, there has been a little bit more increase in the number of women who are approaching me. So you kind of have to be careful about that to see is this authentic? Are they trying to get a beneficial gain from this? Like, what is their end goal? But the other aspect that kind of touched me a little bit was the Steve part, because unfortunately, I didn't tell my parents about the struggles that I went through, so they found out about that through this Steve Harvey segment. So that was one aspect that I kind of felt bad about, to be honest, having them find out, essentially the rest of the world versus from their own child. But the fame, honestly, I don't see it as changing me. I don't see it as bothering me. If anything, I'm using it to just keep spreading my message and see how many more people I can help. Because once you've been on Ellen, I'm not saying you're famous, but it does help you get into other doors. Like the Ellen was able to lead me to the Rock. The Rock was able to help me get into the Steve Harvey market. The Steve Harvey segment was able to help me reach out to ABC. Now, instead of me saying, hey guys, it's Kwame Sarfo, I want to pitch Barringer High School on your TV show, I'm saying, hey guys, it's Kwame, I've been on Ellen, I've been on NBC, I've been on Steve Harvey TV show, I have an idea that I want to pitch to you. They're more receptive. They're actually opening my emails, responding back, and there's more communication. So if anything,
don't forget Pickler and Ben show too.
Even Pickler and Ben. So I haven't forgot them. Sorry guys, Pickler. Yep. So all that is really helping me like craft and steer my journey. Like it's helping me navigate to different sides, see how I can help more people. So the fame is helpful. There are some negatives, but I think the pros outweigh the cons, to be fair.
Nice. Great information, man. Great information. Before we end this show, is there anything else you want to say?
Before we end, I definitely want to give a shout out. I don't know if anyone's listening, but anyone that goes to Rutgers University in Newark, we are one of the best schools in America. Don't you forget. That's my alma mater. Big ups to everyone in school. Going to graduate this May. I know it's tough, guys. I'm here with you. Let's just get through it. We're going to be done soon. And no matter what it is that you want to do, doesn't matter what age you are, just go for it. Even if you don't become successful in it, like let's say you want to be a rapper and you're 29, even if you don't become a millionaire, if you don't blow up, that little joy that you have from doing what you enjoy, it's going to make your life a whole lot better. Like those 5 minutes or those 2 hours out the day that you just take to do what your craft is or just to work on what you want to do, it makes you better because it brings you joy. And the thing about life is we just want to progress. We just want to have as many moments of joy as possible because those somehow they will keep going and going and going. Eventually, all that joy adds up, and maybe your big break comes in a couple of years. But whatever it is that you like to do, just keep doing it. Stay passionate about it. Don't be shy. Don't be afraid to ask for help. Don't be afraid to dream. If people don't like what you're doing, it's okay. Everyone is going to be blessed by God. We all have our own paths. Just take it in stride and keep working on yourself. Make sure you drink a lot of water. And also, if you have anything you want to donate, Behringer High School, we're always here for it. We don't even need money or monetary denominations. Even if you have old clothes, blankets, you can reach out to me personally and I will get it to the school. But yes, we just want to make ourselves better and make this 2020 great for everybody.
So what is the address of that school again?
90 Parker, Parker Street in Newark, New Jersey, 07104. If you were to send anything, you could just do attention Miss Davis, Davis, and she is in the school guidance department.
Great. Do they have a phone number too?
They do have the school does have a general phone number. People could call them and they could just ask for Miss Davis specifically. It's 973-268-5125. And even if they don't remember this person asked for Miss Davis, they could just say, I have something I want to donate, and they'll make sure to get you into the right hands or whoever to reach out to.
And what's the name of the school one more time?
The school name is Behringer High School, Barringer High School in Newark, New Jersey.
Okay. So Kwame, before I end this show, there's always a segment called Share Something About Yourself.
Okay.
Where I ask my guests personal questions.
Okay.
Who is your role model?
It would have to be my father. Like the man I am now and all the things that I'm doing right now, I have to give him credit for just instilling in me, go after what you want to, and no matter what it is that you do in life, be the best at it. I remember he told me if I want to wash windows in the future, be the best window washer possible. And I know a lot of people may not even say that. They'll be like, that's dumb, or don't tell your children that. But he said, no matter what it is that you do, make sure you be the best in it. So right now, I'm not sure specifically what I am doing. I don't know how to categorize that because I'm doing so many different things. But every day I try to be the best at whatever I'm going to do for that day. If I'm going to be on TV, I'm going to try to be the most lively person on TV. If I'm going to do push-ups or something physical, I'm going to try to be the best athlete for that 5-minute span. So I would definitely give it all to my dad.
What do you like the most about yourself?
For me personally, I would say my relentlessness, tricky word. I've always been the type that if you tell me no, that just gets me excited. Like if you tell me no, you're not going to be able to be a model because of this, this, and that, that's like, all right, perfect. Give me 2 years and now I'm going to show you what I'm going to do. So I really think the relentlessness, like if you tell me no, that gives me more energy, more fire for me to go and do it. And even if you tell me yes, or if you don't say anything at all, I'm still going to go after what it is that I want. So even with the whole Ellen thing, I wanted to go on Ellen twice. In 2019, it didn't happen. But I was able to get on Steve, able to get on NBC, able to get on Pickler and Ben. So I really I'm relentless. Like when I tell you I'm going to do something, if it doesn't happen, which is honestly rare, something else better is going to happen. But I check everything with the same intensity. If I tell you I'm going to do something, I'm going to do everything in my power to get it done for you.
What is your preferred color?
Preferred color would have to be blue, specifically like a royal blue. For some reason, I'm attracted to blue. Like I love everything. Blue cars, phone, clothes, it's always blue.
What do you like to splurge on?
What I like to splurge on right now, I like to splurge on suits. Growing up, I used to have the same dream as a child. I thought either I'd be a doctor or I'd be someone important. Because in the dreams, I'd either have on a suit or I'd have on a white coat. So I guess it's held true. It's still going to this day, but I really like a nice suit, like a nice tailored suit if possible.
I think a nice suit is like really great for a gentleman, you know?
Yes, I agree with you 100%.
Yeah. Hey, Kwame, thank you for a great interview. I hope to talk to you soon.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. Like I saw the other contests you had, and I'm thankful and blessed that you were able to include me also because there were some heavy hitters in that list.
Thanks to my guest, Kwame Sarfo. Thanks to you for listening. The Berry Media Show takes you places that you have never imagined. please leave a review. It will definitely help. You can find me on Instagram at Barry Medias and on Twitter at Barry Medias. Thanks once again. See you soon. Bye.